Hello, welcome to the i6 Academy. My name is Akın, and today we're going to be covering the topic of how to deliver a successful meeting. So, you managed to get the meeting. Now, the main thing is you go there, you sell GV or GT, and you get the contract. So, the goal for this session is for you to understand what you need to prepare for a meeting, how you can use the tools that we use in the meeting, and you know how to successfully conduct a company or enabler meeting. So, our session is based on 4 parts. The first part is preparation for the meeting. The second part is flow of a meeting. The third part is key selling points and objection management. And lastly, after the meeting. So what needs to be done after the meeting? So let's start with preparation for the meeting. So what needs to be prepared before a meeting? The first thing is you need to get more information about the company and your contact person. Secondly, you need to identify the need, prepare your meeting strategy, and prepare your sales pitch. Then you should prepare your sales material like your brochures or your business cards, etc. Then you should get your documents together and set a goal for the meeting, like a perfect goal would be to get the contract. And you should look into HubSpot to understand the history of company or the enabler between Isaac. And most importantly, you should be excited and you should be ready to enjoy the meeting. So let's talk a bit more about how you can do a research on the company. So the thing is, it is really crucial that you know what the company or the enabler is doing. So when you're there, you can ask the right questions or do the right sales pitch and you can get the contract. So we have a checklist here and let's go through it together. The first thing is you should Google the company or the enabler so you can learn about what they're doing, what is the purpose of their company, what is the purpose of the enabler, and how many employees they have, and if they're working with Isaac in another city or if they worked with Isaac before, so you can even sell to them in a better way. So try to really study this company or the enabler. So again, when you go there, you give them the impression that you studied well and you are there, like you can have like a more professional approach to the company or the enabler, and this can really lead to a more successful meeting. So the documents and tools for the meeting are, for IGT, of course, you need the contract, you need the recruitment process timeline, you need the job description and the sales deck. On this presentation, you can click on all of these underlined sentences, and you can go to the links and you can look through them in more details. And for IGV, of course, you need the company, you need the contract, and you need the national sales proposal, which you will have to customize for the specific enabler. And in both cases, IGV or IGT, in IGT, there is the Arrows playbook. In IGV, there is the Foxy hunting guide. So you should really go through them before the meeting. So you have lots of ideas about how to successfully deliver a meeting or how to successfully sell GT or GE. So it's really important for you to study your tools and dry run the sales deck or national proposal. So when you're there, you can deliver the meeting efficiently and you can expect the questions that can come and you know how to answer them. So tips to consider before a meeting. So you should really know your product. Be ready to explain in the meeting what we can offer and what we cannot offer, and never oversell. Be on time, so you give a great impression, great first impression. And talking about first impressions, you should also dress for success. I mean, it wouldn't be the most smartest idea to go there with ripped jeans and a t-shirt. Try to look as professional as possible, and you should search the person that you will meet on LinkedIn and learn about their experience. This can be useful when you first start the meeting, and it can be also used as an icebreaker, the knowledge you have about your meeting person, so it can really start the meeting in a good mood. Then bring a confident attitude to the meeting, because confidence is the key to the success. This is really important that the company sees that you're confident with what you're selling, so they can also buy it better from you. And prepare yourself for the first meeting to contract mindset, so you go there to really get the contract and get the job done. And also check HubSpot to update yourself for all the conversation happening between Isaac and the company or enabler, so you know where the situation between the company or enabler and the Isaac is. So let's talk about the flow of a meeting. So the flow of a meeting looks like this. It starts with intro and greetings, where you basically just introduce each other to the company and the company introduces themselves to you, and then you can go through the agenda so the company knows how the flow of the meeting will look like, and they can already start expecting or start getting some questions in their mind where they can ask you. The second part is introduction of Isaac. So this part shouldn't be super detailed. You should try to explain Isaac in 2-3 minutes. Both in the national proposal for IGV and sales deck for IGT, there are some slides that you can use to introduce Isaac. So try to keep it short and simple, but let them understand what we are doing as an organization and what we stand for. Then you should start with your questions towards the company or the enabler, so you learn about their needs and challenges, and you can use your sales pitch according to this, and you can give them more arguments to show that Isaac can be really useful for them. Then you should start with the sales pitch. This is basically where you explain to the company or the enabler what we offer and how they can benefit from it. And after you do the sales pitch, then you should also mention about our pricings so they can actually understand that what we offer is actually something really valuable and that can be really benefit them, and the price we're offering for them is actually really low, so it's like a really win-win situation for the company or the enabler. Then you can start with the questions and answers. So basically the company will or the enabler will have some questions, so this is the part where you guys can answer the company's or the enabler's questions, and then finish it up with wrap up, next steps, and closing. In the ideal case, you guys can sign the contract in the meeting, and then you can already talk about what the next steps are. If not, the companies or the enabler said they need more time to decide on this, then you can also set up some clear expectations and deadlines for the next meeting or when the company will send you the contract. And also in this part, you can ask the company what they need from you. Of course, like we can also send them more materials, so you can also mention how the process works. So this is the flow of the meeting. Now, in the meeting, it's really crucial that you know how to use the presentation for a meeting tools. So as I mentioned before, this for IGT is the sales deck, and for IGV it's the national proposal. So before the meeting, in both cases, go through it with someone that went to a meeting before, or with your team leader or with your VP, and really understand how to use them correctly. So when you're there, you can actually really efficiently use these tools to really get a successful meeting. So you can also watch the educational videos, they are also linked in the slide, to learn more about how to use the sales deck or how to use the national proposal. One thing that I mentioned before is for the national proposals, you really need to customize it for the company. So for example, for the enabler. So for example, if you're working with a school, you can actually already get the national proposal and create a project idea for them with job descriptions for the EPs, and also create a timeline for the project, so when you go there, if there's something more concrete, so it will be easier for you to sell or just to give them more ideas. So now let's talk about some tips for the meetings. So do not hold back, because like we're a worldwide organization that can provide the company or the enabler really good profiles from all over the world for a reasonable price. So again, it's a win-win situation for them, so you really don't need to hold back. Then focus on presenting the product and do not oversell. Do not make any promises that Isaac cannot provide, because this can lead to a bad situation, and this can lead to getting a contract or really losing a company or enabler for good. Then be open for proposals and new ideas. Of course we have some stuff that we need to sell. For example, you can go to a company meeting to get for like one EP, but they can also talk about maybe having more, or in GV they can also try to add more ideas into the project. So completely be open for proposals, and of course think about them while you answer them. Again, do not oversell, but you can manage this really easily. And create a follow-up timeline for the company enabler during the meeting, so they know when needs to happen what, and you can work with the company a lot easier when you set up some expectations. And again, expectation setting for the process. Make sure that the company enabler understands that we need to work on stuff right now, so that the EPs can arrive on time. So create like a sense of urgency that the company or the enabler shouldn't be lazy or relaxed, and they really should be able to get the decision as fast as they can, so we can already start the process and deliver them the best EPs as possible. Then do not lose focus. Try to stick to the agenda at all times and avoid talking about off-topic subjects, and try to include an interactive element. Don't be the only one talking throughout the whole meeting. Try to read the room, and if you feel like there could be some questions, if the people are like having some question marks in their minds, just ask them if they have any questions or not. And have a good posture, because a good posture while sitting gives you confidence, and as we mentioned before, confidence is key to success. And make sure you go over the Arrows playbook or the Foxy hunting guide, because again, there are lots of amazing ideas and some examples that you can really use to be successful in a meeting. So let's talk about key selling points and objection management. So let's start with the key selling points for IGT. So basically, our value proposition for IGT is hire global interns and add competitive advantage to your business in today's global market. And our key selling points are hire with ease. With us, sourcing international talent becomes as easy as recruiting in your local market. We customize our recruitment process to make it easy for you to hire global talent. Talent acquisition behind every successful company. There are innovative, diverse global workforce. Bring interns from all around the world to ensure input in your business operations. Infuse your business with fresh perspective of millennials from all around the world. Stay competitive. Stay dynamic by bringing profiles aligned with what the market needs and demands. Minimize skill gap. All around the world, our product attract talent of diverse backgrounds: HR, marketing, engineering, software development, education, sales, and many more. And boost your work culture. um, Basically, by getting more internationals to your company or more fresh minds to the company, this can really be a good thing to boost the company's work culture. And our reception part, where you can talk about that the Isaac takes care of the interns, logistical processes, like for example visa, working permit, housing, and etc., and delivers the intern a soft landing when they come to Germany. Imagine they're coming to like a new country, new culture, and with the assist of Isaac they would be able to more easily integrate into German culture. Let's talk about the key selling points for IGV. So the value proposition of IGV is a cross-cultural volunteer experience which allows organizations to bring young people from all around the world to their social impact projects. So the key selling points are global perspective. Add multicultural flavor to your team by bringing in our volunteers who care about world issues and bring innovative solutions from the youth to work locally. Positive impact. Enable eager and passionate volunteers to participate in your project to create positive social impact. Build cross-cultural understanding by facilitating the interaction of volunteers with local communities. And source with ease. Reduce your overhead and administration time as we help source great volunteers from our global network for you. Our local Isaac members assist in culturally inducting the volunteers as well as facilitating an enjoyable experience for them in the host city. And also mention our exchange standards that we also again help with the EPs in their logistical stuff like visa, letter of invitation, and so on. And we also take care of them for them to enjoy their experience even better. So let's talk about objection management. When you go to a company meeting, expect there to be some objections. Expect that the company might have some ideas that they might not be able to work with Isaac. But for this, as we mentioned many times before, for IGT in the Arrows playbook and for IGV in the Foxy Hunting Guide, there are lots of examples for objections and how you can deal with them. So make sure you go over them. And also you can check the how to call video in our ICX Academy, so you can also see more ideas about how to deal with the objection management. So now let's talk about what needs to happen after a meeting. Just like every single action we do in ICX, after a meeting you also need to log it on HubSpot. Then you can start preparing the follow-up that is needed for the company or the enabler that you decided on the meeting. And then when you're done with the follow-up, like when you're done preparing the follow-up, then you can send the follow-up mail including all the documents needed, and you should do the follow-up and close the deal when everything is done. So let's talk about some types of the follow-up. The first type of follow-up is the follow-up mail, where you should thank for the meeting and send them all the documents that are needed, that they needed, all the materials, and please check and sign the contract, and then you can tell that you will come back to them on a specific date. Then you should always check on the contract. If the contract isn't signed in the meeting, then call and confirm that they will sign the contract on the arranged day and set up some next steps for clarification. And after the opportunity is open, this is for IGT, let the partners know, as well as when you send all the candidates and the shortlist. So one really important thing is you need to finishing the follow-ups, like following up the follow-ups on the day of the company meeting, or worst case a day later, but do not make it longer than that because it wouldn't give a professional impression and that can really lead into a problem. So now let's wrap up. The tips and points of attention are the main reasons for unsuccessful company meetings are bad or no follow-ups. So make the next steps clear and set the deadlines in the meeting or with the follow-ups. Document everything on HubSpot, so some ideas, some things that were clarified in the meeting can be forgotten, so you have everything there, so you can always check from there if everything's going on how it should be. And call the company enabler back on the agreed date to make sure you get the contract, so you can finish everything and successfully finish a sales process. This was the how to meeting part of the ICX Sales Academy. I hope you guys liked the video, I hope it was helpful, and see you on another one.